Okay, today we'll see about that hepatitis E virus. Okay, and if you see this hepatitis E, clear. So this you will you will call it as a HEPA virus. Okay, this hepatitis E virus you will call it as a HEPA virus, and which is having that is single-stranded positive RNA, which is having only the single-stranded positive RNA will be present here. And if you see, the incubation period is 15 to 60 days. Okay, incubation period is 15 to 60 days. And if you see, the mode of transmission is fecal oral route. Mode of transmission is fecal oral route. Clear? See this hepatitis E virus. Okay, you will also call it as HEPA virus, and which is having a single-stranded positive RNA, and the incubation period is 15 to 60 days, and the mode of transmission is fecal oral route. Clear? And if you see this hepatitis E virus, which is having a genome, clear? Generally, if you see the genome of this virus having 3 open reading frames, okay, which is having 3 open reading frames. See that you will also call it as ORFS. See that is ORF1, ORF2 and ORF3. Okay, like this you are having 3 open reading frames which is present in case of the genome of this hepatitis E virus. Clear? And if you see this open reading frame 1, okay, this encodes the non-structural proteins. Okay, mainly this is going to be encodes the non-structural proteins. Okay, and if you see the non-structural proteins, which can also include like polymerase, okay, that is mainly useful for the viral replication. Clear? And next one is open reading frame 2, if you see, which encodes that is 660 amino acid capsid protein. See, generally, if you see any virus, generally which is having a capsid, clear? See here, if you see this capsid, which is having 660 amino acid capsid protein, okay, that is mainly encoded in this open reading frame 2. Next, we are also having open reading frame 3, which is going to be encodes 113 by 114 amino acid phosphoprotein. Okay, either 113 or 114, okay, amino acid phosphoprotein, okay, that will be encoded in this open reading frame 3. Okay, see this about the genome of this hepatitis E virus. Okay, genome having 3 open reading frames, that is open reading frame 1, frame 2 and frame 3. Okay, open reading frame 1, that is going to be encodes the non-structural proteins. Okay, mainly the polymerase that will be useful for the viral replication. And next one is open reading frame 2, which is going to be encodes 660 amino acid capsid protein, and open reading frame 3, which encodes that is 113 or 114 amino acid phosphoprotein. Okay, now we'll see how this virus is going to be replicated inside our body. See, that means through the fecal oral route. Suppose if this virus has been entered into our body, then what happens? The capsid of this virus that reacts with heparin sulfate proteoglycans. Okay, that binds with heparin sulfate proteoglycans. Okay, that will be present on the cell surfaces. Clear? See, that means where in the surface of the hepatocyte having this heparin sulfate proteoglycans. and this will be enters inside the hepatocyte with the help of membrane cholesterol dependent pathway. Okay, with the help of membrane cholesterol dependent pathway. Okay, with the help of this pathway, mainly this virus is going to be entered inside the hepatocytes mainly by endocytosis. Clear? Say once this virus enters inside the hepatocyte, which will become uncoated of that is RNA in cytosol. Okay, in the hepatocyte, mainly what happens, the uncoating of this RNA is going to be taking place inside the cytosol. So immediately, whatever the single stranded positive RNA that will be present, translated to immediately, that is going to be translated to open reading frame 1. Okay, so if it is translated to open reading frame 1, so immediately what happens, which will be encoding the non-structural polyproteins. Okay, this is going to be encoding the non-structural polyproteins. Clear? So immediately this is going to be cleaved by cysteine protease. Okay, this is going to be cleaved with one enzyme that we will call it as cysteine protease. So immediately the positive single stranded RNA that will be converted into negative single stranded RNA. Clear? See, now this negative single stranded RNA, which will be acts like a template, okay, for the synthesis of the positive stranded single RNA. Clear? See, now this positive single stranded RNA that is going to be translated to open reading frame 2 and open reading frame 3. Okay, see here what happens, this open reading frame 2 is going to be assembles all the positive RNA, that is the single stranded positive RNA, and which will be forming a virion. Okay, finally which will be forming a virion here, and this is going to be released from the cell. Okay, this is going to be released from the cell. Clear? Then next what happens, we are left with this open reading frame 3, right? This open reading frame 3 that is going to be reacts with the lipid molecules, and which is finally coats the viral particle. Clear? See, later this is going to be removed by the bile salts and enteric proteases. Okay, so this is about the viral replication inside the hepatocyte. Clear? See what happens here, if you see the capsid, okay, whatever the capsid, okay, of the virus that binds with the heparin sulfate proteoglycans that will be present on the surface of the hepatocyte, and which will be enters inside the cell with the help of membrane cholesterol dependent pathway, that is through the endocytosis. This capsid, okay, that is will become uncoated, and only the RNA will be present in the cytosol of this hepatocyte. Clear? Now this RNA initially translated to open reading frame 1. Okay, this is going to be, okay, I already told you, which will be encoding the non-structural proteins. Okay, now this protein which will be cleaved with the help of the cysteine protease and converting this positive single stranded RNA into the negative single stranded RNA molecule. Clear? Now this negative single stranded RNA will be acting like a template, okay, and which will be producing the positive single stranded RNA. See, now this will be acting. Clear. See, that will be producing, that is this positive single stranded RNA, which will be translated to open reading frame 2 and open reading frame 3. Okay, among these two, this open reading frame 2, okay, see, this is going to be assembling all these positive single stranded RNA and which will be forming a virion, and this will be released from the cell. Clear. And generally this, whatever this open reading frame 3 that will be present, that reacts with the lipid molecules, and finally which will be coating this particle, and finally this coating which will be released by the bile salts as well as the enteric proteases. Okay, next we'll see about the pathogenesis of this, okay, hepatitis E virus. See, generally in case of pathogenesis, what happens? The extrinsic apoptic pathway is going to be activated here. See, in the presence of this virus, see what happens, that is, okay, extrinsic apoptic pathway is going to be activated. See, what is this apoptic pathway? That is death pathway is going to be activated in response to this virus. Clear. See, generally here what happens, that is whatever the death ligands, okay, that is present, that binds with the death receptors, okay, that you will call it as a DR. Okay, this death receptor you will also call it as a FAS receptor. Okay, see, this death ligand you will call it as tumor necrosis factor superfamily. Okay, you all know that this tumor necrosis factor, which is one of the inflammatory mediator. See, among this superfamily you are having, that is FASL. Okay, this you will call it as the ligand. Clear. In response to this virus, this ligand binds to this FAS receptor, so which will be leading to trimerization and conformational changes of these receptors. Okay, which will be leading to trimerization and conformational changes that is going to be taking place for this receptor. Okay, see, because of that changes in this death receptor, okay, which is going to be recruits one cytoplasmic adapter protein, that you will call it as FADD, okay, which is going to be recruits, that is okay, that is adapter protein, you will call it as FADD. Clear. See, because of this conformational changes, what happens, which is going to be recruits one cytoplasmic adapter protein, that is FADD. Okay, and finally which can also recruit another molecule, that is caspase 8. Clear. See, because of conformational changes, initially recruits this FADD protein, and later which can also recruit another signal molecule, that is caspase 8. Clear. See, that is totally the death receptor, okay, FADD and caspase 8. If you see these three forms, okay, totally these three which will be forming a death inducing signaling complex, okay, which will be forming, that is death inducing signaling complex. See, that you will call it as DISC, that you will also call it as a disc. Clear. See, and finally which is going to be leads to the activation of other caspases like 3, 6 and 7. Okay, here this is caspase 8, but here which further activates, that is other kind of caspases like 3, 6, 7, finally which will be leading to apoptosis, okay, which will be leading to the death of the cell. See, this is what is going to be happening because of this hepatitis E virus, which will be leading to the death of the hepatocyte finally. Clear? See here what is happening in this hepatitis E virus, the extrinsic apoptic pathway is going to be activated. See, that means here the death ligand is going to be binds with the death receptors. Okay, example for this death receptor is the FAST receptor, and the death ligand is tumor necrosis factor superfamily, that is FASL. Clear? See, once this death ligand, that is FASL, binds with this FAST receptor, which will be leading to trimerization and conformational changes of this death receptor. Clear? See, because of the conformational changes of this death receptors, which can recruit the cytoplasmic adaptor protein, that is FADD, and later on, which can also recruit another signaling molecule, that is caspase 8. Clear? See, now this caspase 8, FADD, and the death receptor, which will be forming a death inducing signaling complex, that is DISC. Clear? So now this DISC is going to be activates the other caspases like 3, 6, and 7, and finally what happens, which will be leading to the apoptosis. Okay, see, this is about the hepatitis E virus. Okay, see, that's all students about this hepatitis. Okay, and we'll discuss one more disease. Okay, that we'll see another one, that is tuberculosis. Okay, we'll also call it as a TB. Clear? See, and if you see this tuberculosis, which is a communicable chronic granulomatous disease, okay, which is a communicable and which is also chronic, okay, granulomatous disease. Clear? Chronic and granulomatous, why we'll call it as a granulomatous? Because which is forming a granuloma. Clear? And which is mainly caused by Mycobacterium tubercle. Clear? See, and it mainly involves the lungs. Okay, which part of our body is going to be affected? Mainly which will be affecting the lungs. Clear? See, why this bacteria that is going to be affecting the lungs? The reason behind that is this Mycobacterium tubercle, which is an aerobic bacteria, so which can feed on mostly the oxygen. So these lungs, which is having the high concentration of oxygen, so what happens is Mycobacterium tubercle is mostly the target organ is the lungs. See, by that means, which doesn't means that which is not affecting the other parts of our body, okay, which can also affect the other parts of the body, but mostly which can affect the lungs because of the presence of this nature, that is the aerobic bacteria. Clear? And if you see the mode of transmission, that is mainly that is the direct contact from person to person. Clear? The direct contact from person to person, that is because it's an airborne infection through airborne droplets. Okay, because of this airborne, okay, because of that droplets of the organism, which can also, okay, leads to the transmission of this disease. Clear? And next we'll see regarding the pathogenesis of this tuberculosis. Okay, you remember this is a communicable chronic granulomatous disease caused by the Mycobacterium tubercle and mostly affecting the lungs. Clear? See, and if you see the mode of transmission is direct contact from person to person. Okay, of because it's an airborne, okay, through the droplets, okay, airborne droplets also, which may infect the other person. Next we'll see regarding the pathogenesis here. Okay, see, in case of this pathogenesis, initially you have to understand regarding the virulence of this tubercle bacteria. Okay, first we'll see about the virulence. Okay, the pathogenesis. Okay, here we'll see first about the virulence of this tubercle bacilli. Okay, see the virulence of this tubercle bacteria. It's not because of the endotoxins. That means which is not releasing any endotoxins here. See, but if you see the surface of this bacteria, it's itself which will be toxic. Okay, to the human beings. Clear? See, generally, if you see this tuberculosis, this bacteria which will be inducing the disease, okay, mainly by mycocytes. Okay, inducing the disease mainly by the mycocytes. Okay, see what is meant by these mycocytes is covalently linked. Okay, covalently linked lipids plus carbohydrates. See, I'm telling the nature of this bacteria, okay, the cell wall of this bacteria, how it will be. I hope you have learned in your microbiology also regarding the cell wall of this tuberculosis, how it will be. But if you see at a glance, I will tell you the cell wall of this Mycobacterium tubercle, which is having these mycocytes. Okay, these mycocytes are the covalently linked lipids and the carbohydrates. Okay, see that is mainly present in the lipid fraction of the bacteria. See, like how the cell wall of any cell which is having the bilipid layer, in the same way, the cell wall of this bacteria, which is also having the lipids, okay, that lipid fraction having these mycocytes, that is covalently linked lipids and the carbohydrates. Okay, see the mycocyte derivatives. Okay, the mycocyte derivatives, you will call it as a cod factor. Okay, the derivatives of these mycocytes, we will call it as a cod factor, and this is highly toxic. Clear? See, that means if you see here, this bacteria is not releasing any harmful chemicals, but the surface, okay, of this bacteria itself, which is highly toxic. Clear? See, and if you see the components of the cell wall of this bacilli, which is having VAX-D. Okay, see this MAX-D, which is a glycolipid, clear, and which is also having muramyl dipeptides. Okay, which is also having muramyl dipeptides. Okay, these two will be acting like a very powerful adjuvant. See, that means no other things will be required, only the bacteria cell wall itself, which will be very toxic to the human beings. Clear? See, because of these powerful adjuvants, which will be developing the delayed hypersensitivity reactions, okay, which will be producing the delayed, okay, hypersensitivity reaction. Okay, see, this is see, because of this, which will be leading to inflammation at the site of infection. Okay, so this is about the virulence of this bacteria. See, that means the cell wall of this bacteria, which will be having, that is mycocytes, that is covalently linked lipids and the carbohydrates, and its derivatives, we will call it as a cod factor, and which is highly toxic. Clear? See, apart from that, if you see the components of this cell wall, okay, which is having, that is VAX-D, you will also call it as a glycolipid, and muramyl dipeptides. Okay, these two which will be acting like a very means whenever these type of adjuvants are going to be released, so immediately which will be leading to the inflammation at the site of infection. Clear? See, as we had seen, okay, the virulence of this pathogen. Okay, next we'll see what happens once this tubercle bacteria that has been entered inside our body and which will be settled inside the lungs. Clear? See, this tubercle bacteria, I already told you this will be attacking mainly the lungs. Clear? See inside the lungs, okay, you're having, okay, the macrophages. Okay, mainly here the cell mediated immunity is going to be activated here. Okay, in this case, the cell mediated immunity is going to be activated. Okay, see later on I will tell you what is the difference between cell mediated immunity and the humoral immunity. Okay, in case of humoral immunity there will be that is involvement of the antibodies, but here in case of cell mediated immunity there will be no involvement of any antibodies. Okay, if you see, like, see nowadays whatever the vaccines we are taking, okay, the reason behind that vaccines is inside our body for the synthesis of the antibodies. Clear? See, but here regarding this tubercle bacteria, see that means there is no involvement of any antibodies here. Okay, only the cell mediated immunity, the cell itself fight against those bacteria here. Clear? See, that means once this bacteria enters inside the lungs, okay, inside the lungs we are having, that is macrophage. Okay, if you see, this is one macrophage. Clear? See, this bacilli, now this will be reaching to the surface of this macrophage. Clear? See, immediately these bacteria which will be phagocytosis. Clear? With the process of phagocytosis, now which will be entered inside this macrophage, and now the bacilli will be present. Okay, see, this is a cell wall of this macrophage, okay, which will be forming a phagosome. Okay, this we will call it as a phagosome. Clear? See, now this bacilli that will be enters inside the macrophage and which will be taking the layer from the cell wall of this macrophage and which will be forming a phagosome. Clear? See, generally what happens inside this macrophage, here also having lysosomes. Okay, some other particles will be present. You will call it as lysosomes. Clear? See, generally if it is not a tubercle bacteria, then this lysosome combines with the phagosome and finally which will be eliminated, which will be killed by this macrophage and which will be eliminated from the body. But which is not the case in case of tubercle bacteria, as I told you how the cell wall will be present. Okay, so that this lysosome which will be unable to bind with this phagosome, so then what happens, this phagosome try to replicate inside this macrophage, and this stage we will call it as a primary infection. Is it clear? See what I am telling here. See the bacilli after reaching the lungs. Okay, inside the lungs itself we are having this macrophage. Clear? See this macrophage which will be engulfing this bacteria and which will be forming a phagosome. Clear? See, because of the nature of the cell wall of this bacteria, which is unable to digest by this macrophage and which tries to replicate inside this macrophage, and that you will call it as a primary infection. Clear? See, that means after 3 weeks. Okay, generally if you see after 3 weeks of this primary infection, immediately what happens, the cell mediated immunity is going to be activated. Clear? And which will be surrounding this bacilli. Okay, this is the cells. Okay, the cell mediated immunity which will be surrounding this bacilli. This we will call it as granuloma. Okay, see, that means because of this granuloma which will be leading to the necrosis of the tissue. Okay, at this stage, this granuloma you will call it as gone focus. Okay, this you will call it as gone focus. Clear? See, the cell mediated immunity is activated and which will be surrounding this bacilli, that you will call it as a granuloma. Okay, because of this granuloma which will be leading to the necrosis of the tissue, at this stage this granuloma you will call it as gone focus. Clear? See, now this enters into the lymph nodes. Once this granuloma enters into the lymph nodes, you will call it as gone complex. Okay, this you will call it as gone complex. and this will be leads to fibrosis and calcification. Clear? This we will call it as a rank complex. Clear? See, now this is ready to infect the new host. Clear? So this is about regarding the pathogenesis of this tuberculosis here. Clear? See, this tubercle bacteria, once it enters inside the lungs, then what happens? The macrophage, with the help of phagocytosis, which will be enters inside the macrophage and which will be forming a phagosome and which tries to replicate inside this macrophage, and that stage we will call it as a primary infection. Okay, after 3 weeks of the primary infection, the cell mediated immunity is going to be activated and which will be surrounding this bacilli, that you will call it as a granuloma. Okay, see, because of this granuloma, which will be leading to the necrosis of the tissue at this stage, this granuloma, you will call it as gone focus. And now this bacteria, once it enters into the lymph nodes, you will call it as a gone complex. And this gone complex, which will be leading to the fibrosis and calcification. Okay, this we will call it as a rank complex. And finally, this is, okay, this stage, the bacteria which will be ready to infect the new host. That means through either a droplets or through the, that is direct contact from person to person. Okay, mainly by coughing or the sneezing. Okay, mainly this bacteria is going to be infecting the new host. Clear? See, that's all, students, for today. Okay, about this hepatitis E virus and the tuberculosis.